me explain. Dan, if you could send one message for all humanity to read on a billboard, both 50 years ago in 75 and 50 years later, now in 2025, what would that message be and why?
My words on the billboard, first of all, are this: unimaginable things today may be part of everyday life someday. I said, well, let's go back 50 years from then. Let's make believe I'm in 1975 and go back to 1925. So here's a small list. So 1925, radio had become a major form of mass communication. Sound on film was just being developed. So movies went from silent to sound in 1925. So then now we get to that billboard in 1975, and the tech advances then became really the birth of personal computers, which we all have, everybody. Video games, if you all remember those, Atari, Pong, became a cultural phenomenon. And then we got to go ahead 50 years from today. So let's talk about today first. Smartphones, instant information at your fingertips. AI, artificial intelligence. Tools like OpenAI, ChatGPT, and many others have revolutionized natural language processing. And because of the technology today, I was able to. And I asked, what will be the technological advances in 2050? Something called commercial quantum computing. Fully realized quantum computers may solve problems like molecular modeling, optimization, encryption that are impossible for classical computers. Direct neural interfaces could allow humans to communicate with computers and each other without speech. I'll just read it one more time. Unimaginable things today may be part of everyday life someday. And I think it's true. I think we've all lived it in our lifetimes. And I think if we all live to 2050, we're going to see some unbelievable things.
I'm sitting here listening to your show, and I'm thinking of the early days of television. I mean, you can Google right now, Playhouse 90, Project Immortality, 1959, starring Lee J. Cobb, my dear friend Patty McCormick, and Michael Landon before Bonanza. And it was about AI, Dan, 1959.
Wow.
To inform the audience, not just stimulate them. And this show kind of reminds me of that and what you brought up and the length at which you went into it. And I'm glad you brought up AI, because I think it's the first advancement where we're not increasing jobs. I'm not pressing it enough to see that far. All I know is there will be less work. And I never thought it would invade the arts, but it does. The mass editing and even writing, now they have writing apps. And if I could get people to just, like, I have a charity for single moms. My best friend's an Episcopal minister. He's retired now, but it's called Front Door. It's up in Nashua, New Hampshire. So they can learn a trade, and then we get them a job in that trade. And all the while, we supply free babysitting. And I think this is something that people of faith would do. Forget religion. I'm tired of, God wants me to put down the infidels. Where the hell does that come from? I don't understand. This religious right telling me we're doing God's work and other people putting us down. I just kind of lost it. And when I look around today and I see the same thing and people killing each other in the name of God, I just wish people would stop for a second and just say to themselves, is this what a God would really want me to do? Would this help anybody else? The old simple rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
And I love what you say, because, again, at the end of the day, guys and gals, there's no past tense when it comes to a Marine. There's no ex-Marine. You're a Marine. That's present tense.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. Yep.
Always a Marine. Dan's a Marine. And I want to...
So I was born in 81, so not quite 75, but I've never seen things across the board, whether it be religion, whether it be race, or whether it be politics, and the amount of hatred out there for no reason. I think if people just live by a philosophy of treating others the way you want to be treated, it would solve so many problems, so many. And you look around the world at, religious wars, you look, in our own country at, homelessness and how people are treated that, are down on their luck. And it's just something I wish more and more people would practice. It's such a simple message. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And I think just every person, just think about that for 1 second. Just think about it. And tomorrow might be a better day than today.
What do you consider a scary question to ask today? And part 2 of that is, what did you consider a scary question to ask when you were in your 20s that you don't consider scary anymore?
I think sometimes you have to really think. And there's an old Norse proverb about the wisest person in the room is the person that listens to everyone else speak and make fools of themselves, and then you speak last and you're the wisest one in the room. I'm afraid of somebody asking me a question I'm not really informed about, and then having to answer it, not being able to say, well, let me think about it. You can't take back what you said. It's once you say it, that's it. And that's your impression on everybody else in that room. I hope I'm not forced to answer a question I don't want to answer right now. I don't know enough about it. Usually I just say, let me think about it. I don't know if that's
so,
a cop-out. Yeah.
No, I was going to say that's genius, because in essence, you answer the question, not speaking your mind if you're not well informed about something, because you don't want to have to either shortchange people that are in the conversation with you, or you don't want to have an opinion about something that you haven't formulated through research.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Joseph, I'm so glad you brought up the AI. I'm working on a new play about an old writer and a young writer, and the old writer says to the young writer, why would you have to know anything when all information is at your fingertips? Your thumb has replaced your brain, which is now up your ass. And the writer's strike, they didn't want to hire writers. They just wanted to put a theme into an app, and out comes the script. The question that I had again, I'm the oldest one, but in 75, will I make it? Will I survive? Will I be someone of worth at some point? We all have that post-traumatic stress thing. Why am I here when others didn't make it? At my age now, that question is not a fear, but then the opposite comes in. Did I make a mark? Did I do enough? Can I do more? 75, I wondered, with all the protests and everything, I wondered whether democracy would survive. And now I don't think it will, unless we start working together, getting all this misinformation out, and actually look at hard numbers and hard facts, and be a little more compassionate.
When I was in my 20s, I think all of us, aren't we? We really have no idea what to expect in life. We don't know. I didn't know if, look, my sport was one thing, but I knew it wasn't my life. It's what I did. Am I going to find somebody to spend the rest of my life with? Am I going to have children? You can say, am I going to be successful? Well, successful to me didn't mean becoming financially rich. It meant the things I mentioned. It meant being a dad and being a great one. There is a plan for each of us, and I have faith in God, and that decided he was going to take my sister at 27 years old. But even in that, there was a plan. Even in that we had to learn as a family how to deal with it, how to move on, what to do next. And although there are a lot of things we control and a lot of things we can do to become who we want to be, there are also a lot of things we have no control over at all. And so those things you have to trust.
But I think maybe one of the main messages today, and please let me know if I'm wrong, is, hey, it's okay to listen to everyone, but you got to read everything, believe nothing until you yourself can prove it with your own research. That's so necessary.